Hello, my sweet little scientists. Welcome back. I know you guys got so excited when you saw this title for this assignment. Yes, we are going to be doing a little experiment. It's not going to be anything wham bam, thank you, ma'am, but it's going to be a good start for us. So today we are going to be classifying some objects. Now, you guys last week were just overloading with vocabulary and learning all the vocab that goes with properties of matter. You have to know the vocabulary in order to be able to do all the rest of this. And you guys kind of applied it last week with finding some certain items and being able to classify them. But I'm going to make a whole video for you and we're going to go through it together. Now, as I'm doing my video, you guys are going to be taking some experiment notes. So I have attached a picture of my experiment notes that I want you guys to write on and follow along with. So I have them up here on the board. This is what your experiment notes look like. And I'm going to just explain to you just kind of how it's going to work and go through everything. So for your experiment notes, you do have a title that I would like for you to write. So up here at the top, you're going to write your title. And today's title is Classify Objects, which you see here. On the right side, you have a small column that lists all your materials. I'm not listing all your materials. You're listing all the materials. So you're going to list every single piece of material that I use in today's video on this column. And it'll be easy to tell what items I'm using, but that's all right. Then this larger column here on the left, this is your what do I see column. This is where you're going to write everything you see me doing. And you guys are so lucky because you guys get to pause the video as I'm talking. So if you have a thought moment, I'm like, oh, I need to pause that and write that down. All you got to do is pause it and write it down, and then you start again and you didn't miss anything. The beauty of that, right? No. So again, you will be writing your title, you will be writing the materials, and you will be writing everything that you see me do. Now, I know what I'm doing. I need to know what you see me doing. So if you're filling this in and you're giving me like 2 sentences of she determined classifying objects, do you think that is quality 100 grade worth work? No, that's not quite what we're looking at. So you guys need to be writing to me in detail what you see. I want to know what all you see, what your thought process is. I have to see it somehow, and this is how I'm going to see it. So if you guys can't print off these notes, get a piece of paper and a pencil. There is no excuses, okay? You're going to get a piece of paper and a pencil. You're going to title it Experiment Notes. Underneath it, you're going to write your experiment title. You're going to write what you see, and you're going to write your materials. I want all of this organized on that piece of paper. The whole point of me giving this to you guys is so that you can stay organized with your notes and your thoughts, and so everything comes clear. I promise you, organization is amazing. I only speak from experience because Ms. Gonzalez is a slight perfectionist. So before we even get going, if you do not have this lovely page printed off, or you do not have a piece of paper and a pencil and it's ready to go, I need you to pause the video real quick. I need you to go do that for me, okay? Okay, other than that, I'm going to get going. All right, so I have created a lovely little chart over here for you guys so that we can walk through classifying each object that I have together. So I have solid, liquid, gas, flexible, texture, temperature, magnetic, float, sink, and soluble as our classifications. Now, these are the most common ones that we're going to be seeing. So these are the ones that I want to kind of start us off with, okay? And our items that we have a pen, Cubone, pencil sharpener, sanitizer bottle, and coffee. And yes, for my sweet Pokemon, my fellow Pokemon friends, yes, you heard me correctly. I said Cubone. You will see what that is shortly. I'm so excited. Okay, so let's get going. All right, first, whoop, I dropped my object. Got it. All right, so first we have a pen. This is one of my favorite pens, so I figured I'd show you. I know that's so corny to have a favorite pen, but ask your parents. More than not, sometimes they have a favorite pen, and it just writes good. You'll understand one day. When you have something that writes good, it just works, okay? All right, so pen. Here we go. Let's start off. Is this a solid, liquid, or gas? Well, One, it's not dripping on me and I didn't just get it all over me. So it's not a liquid. It's not oozing or drip, not doing any of that. So it's not a liquid. It's also not evaporating out away from me. So it's also not a gas. It is indeed a solid. So let's go ahead and mark that on our chart. It is indeed a solid and is not a liquid and it's not a gas. Now, is this pen flexible? Could I bend it in all sorts of shapes without breaking it? This is my favorite pen. I don't want to break it. It is indeed not flexible. I cannot bend it without breaking it. So, not flexible. Now, the texture of this pen, I know that it's hard to see the texture because it's in a video. You more so have to feel it, but for the most part, the pen is hard. It's a hard surface, except for the grip here. Now, the grip, the whole point of the grip is for it to be soft so that you don't get any little writing bumps. I have myself a writing bump. I don't know if you can see it, but it's to help you prevent getting writing bumps and for you to be more comfortable writing. So we can indeed classify more than one texture. Okay, so we have hard and smooth. So we're going to go ahead and write hard and smooth under our texture. Now, what about temperature? Do you think this has a temperature? I mean, I'm holding it, so we know it's not scalding hot, and I'm not going, ow, 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 ow. So it's not scalding hot. Is it cold? Because I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, cold, cold, don't touch. So it actually doesn't have a temperature. Pens don't have temperatures. That would be a little weird if it did. But it does not indeed, so no temperature for the pen. And this is my favorite one. Is it magnetic? Is it going to stick to any magnetized feature that I have? Is there any magnetism that's going to hold it together? Well, that's a no. So no to magnetism. There is no magnetic feature inside the pen that would somehow hold it to the board. Now, I really love this one. Float or sink. Float or sink. Now, you would think that because it's hard, it might have a little bit more weight into it, but this is a pretty lightweight pen. See, it could easily just fall over. There's no weight to it, okay? So sometimes we would think maybe it would sink because it's got a little weight to it. It's not like a feather that would float, but in reality, the pen would indeed float. It may teeter a little bit because it's got a little bit of weight, but not too much. It would definitely indeed float more so than sink to the bottom. So we're going to write float. Now, soluble. Is the pen soluble? Now, soluble meaning that it's able to dissolve into a liquid. So is this solid going to dissolve into a liquid? Maybe if I melt it, but if I just dip it in water, is it going to melt? Well, not melt, but is it going to dissolve into a liquid? No, not quite. We have to think about soluble like salt with water, like warm water. When I put salt in warm water, the salt starts to dissolve into the water, creating salt water. If you've ever gotten sick with a sore throat and you've had to gargle salt water, you know what I'm talking about. It's still there, but it's a little dissolved into it. The pen is not going to be soluble. So, our pen is indeed a solid, not a liquid or a gas. It is not flexible. It has a hard and smooth texture. There is no temperature, no magnetism to it. It will more than likely float in a tub of water, and it is not soluble. Let's go ahead and move on to the next item. So, yes, we are on Cubone. So, I would like to introduce to you guys my newest little assistant. Isn't he just precious? Mr. Gonzalez got him for me for Valentine's Day because he knows that I am absolutely, positively obsessed with Cubone. I think he's the absolute cutest Pokemon. So he got me a little Cubone, and he had this great idea that I should take him to school with me. And I said, you know what? That is a fabulous idea. He's going to be a part of my experiments. He's going to be a part of our assignments. So you guys will see Cubone a whole lot more often. This is his video debut. So he is my little assistant, and he's going to help us participate in the experiment. I know you guys are probably like, oh my gosh, this lady is crazy. It's okay. You'll remember me when you're 20. Okay, so Cubone, let's look at him. He is a plush. He's not one of the cool Funko Pops. I would totally love a cool Funko Pop of Cubone. But he is a plush, so you can see that he is soft. He's very soft. He doesn't have any hard features to him. Okay, he has no hard features. So he is, for his texture, he's mostly going to be soft. I'm going to set him right here while I do this. So for his texture, he is soft. Now, is Cubone a solid, liquid, or gas? Cubone says he's a solid. He ain't dripping everywhere, and he's also not evaporating anytime soon. He is a solid. He is one solid Cubone. I love it. Don't fall, Cubone. I set him down. He almost fell. Okay, so Cubone is indeed a solid. He is nor liquid nor gas. Now, is Cubone kind of flexible? I mean, I can squeeze him. I squeeze him, and I can kind of bend his little bone here. I don't want to hurt Cubone too much, but I can bend him. He is a little flexible, a little bit flexible, but not too much. So maybe we'll put that he's a little bit flexible, not too much, not to where I could completely bend him. I can't quite bend him like whole completely, but I can bend parts of him. So he's a little flexible. So we'll just put a little bit. So he's a little bit flexible. Now, let's see. Does he have a temperature? Let's see. Let's touch his forehead. Does he have a temperature? No. Cubone doesn't have any temperature. He is neither hot nor cold. Okay. So no temperature for Cubone. And especially since Cubone is a plush, he more than likely doesn't have any magnets in him. He's not sticking to the wall, so he's definitely not magnetism. So no magnetism for Cubone. Now, here's the tricky one. Do we think Cubone is going to sink or float? Well, he's plush, so I ain't putting him in water. He's precious. He's too precious for that. So let's see. He's got some of the little stuffing beads in him, so he more than likely could kind of fall a little down into a tub of water, but I don't think he would flat out sink to the bottom. I think he might teeter just like the pinwheel. I think he might kind of maybe slowly get to the bottom. So he might, I don't know, he might be a tricky one. I don't want to test him though, but because he does have a little bit of weight to him and he has those plush little beads in him, he more than likely will teeter just a little bit. So we'll say about half and half. He might just teeter, so we'll more so say float because I don't think he's going to quite sink. Now, is Cubone soluble? If I put Cubone in a tub of water, is he going to dissolve? Nope. Cubone ain't going to dissolve. He is not anything that's going to turn into a liquid. I hope not. Ooh. All right. So our sweet little lab assistant Cubone, he is indeed a solid. He has a little bit of flexibility. He is very soft. And he could more than likely float, maybe sink on a good day. Okay, so he does not have any solubility. There's no magnetism, no temperature. He's not a gas or a liquid. All right, say bye, Cubone. All right, sweet peas. So our next item is a pencil sharpener. Now, I'm not going to bring the big old pencil sharpener that I'm going to have to lug over here, but I do indeed have a tiny, small little pencil sharpener for you guys. So let's see. Solid, liquid, or gas? Solid. Is it flexible? Well, I'm not going to open it because it's got stuff in it, but it's not quite flexible. If I bend it, I break it. So it's not really flexible. Let's see. Texture? It's a little hard. Does the pencil sharpener have a temperature? Is the pencil sharpener magnetic? No, pencil sharpener is not magnetic. Could the pencil sharpener float or sink? Float or sink? I seem to have picked a bunch of hard objects that we can't really determine quite too much if they'll float or sink or not. I'm going to say that the pencil sharpener, because it's more so lightweight, just like the pen, I feel like it's going to teeter. So we're going to say float, sink on a good day. Is the pencil sharpener going to dissolve if I put it in water? So, to recap the pencil sharpener is a solid. It has a hard texture. It will more than likely float or teeter. It is not a liquid. It is not a gas. It is not flexible. It does not have a temperature. It is not magnetic, and it is not soluble. Good night. We just got a whole lot of knots. All right. Now we have the hand sanitizer bottle. This is a quite large bottle. All right. So as you can see, it does have plenty of hand sanitizer in it. So it could give it a little bit of weight. I definitely think that if we put this in a tub of water, it would sink because there is quite a bit of weight to it. So we're going to say that this is going to sink. I went a little bit backwards for you because we haven't quite gotten a sinker yet. Now, let's also look at soluble. Could this bottle dissolve into a thing of water? The bottle might not, but the sanitizer might. So if I were able to squirt the sanitizer into a bottle, or not a bottle, but a tub of water, the hand sanitizer would dissolve. So the hand sanitizer can dissolve, but not quite the bottle. So we'll say about half and half, even though we're focusing more so on the bottle. So the bottle is not soluble, but the hand sanitizer is. Okay, is it magnetic? Nope, not quite. Temperature. The bottle does not have a temperature, my friends. The sanitizer might seem a little cool when it comes out, but the bottle does not indeed have a temperature. Now, it has a hard texture. I'm banging on it and it makes a hard little noise. It has a hard texture. Flexible? Nope. All right. Solid, liquid, or gas. Go. Okay. So again, the bottle, indeed a solid. Sanitizer, liquid. So the hand sanitizer bottle kind of gave us a little bit of both. So if we were focusing on the bottle, it would definitely be solid. But if we were focusing on the sanitizer inside, liquid. So we're going to say we're going to have a solid and a liquid because of the liquid inside of it. Okay. So let's recap. The bottle is indeed a solid with a liquid inside of it. Okay. It is not a gas and it's not flexible. It has a hard texture. It has no temperature and there's no magnetism to it. The bottle will sink for sure. It's heavy. And the bottle is not soluble, but the hand sanitizer is. Okay. All right. We are on our last one. Now, of course, it's in my lovely little cup that you guys have seen in my videos. My coffee. All right. So today, it's specifically coffee. We're not talking about the cup here. We're talking about the coffee inside. So I know you're seeing the cup, but think about coffee. Think about when your parents are drinking coffee, or think about my coffee that I'm going to take a sip of. It's still warm. So there's our temperature. The coffee is still warm. So I'm going to put warm, not hot, because I didn't just burn my tongue. Perfect. Now, obviously, since I drank it, it's a liquid. Is the coffee flexible? Could it bend and move? Well, I physically cannot bend coffee. That is some airbender kind of stuff, like magical stuff to just bend coffee to your will. Oh, that would be such a cool superpower. I found my superpower, guys, to wield coffee, like my power. gosh, I would be so energized all the time. Okay, back to flexible. Well, I can't bend it. It's already a liquid. So it's not really flexible, but it does slosh around when you move it. That one's a little hard. It's not flexible. I can't bend it. The texture? Well, I'm looking at it and I would have to say wet. Because if I got it on me, it'd be a little wet. There is no hard surface because it's not a solid. It's wet. So, magnetic, coffee is not magnetic. There's something wrong with your coffee if it's magnetic. Could the coffee sink or float? Could the coffee sink or float? Why didn't I get a tub of water for this? Oh my goodness. Should have gotten a tub of water. Let's see. Coffee sink or float. Let's picture it on our mind. If I poured coffee into a tub of water. Well, if I poured coffee into a tub of water, it would definitely dissolve into the water. So we do know it's soluble. Something like coffee and the hand sanitizer was the only things. But back to the float or sink. I'm thinking, well, should have gotten a tub of water. I'm thinking float because it's liquid. But then again, it's thicker than water. Is it? This is ready for another experiment, my friends. We'll have to get back to that. But, my sweet friends, I hope that even though despite the fact that I can't think about, I wonder, I feel like it would be a little bit of both. We'll just do both. Because I really feel like it would flow, but it might just flow into the water because it's soluble. We'll just point to the fact that it's soluble, and it'll do its thing when it gets in the water. More than likely both. Okay. But it doesn't sink to the bottom, does it? See, this is why I want you guys to write your thought processes down, because you can hear my thought process, but I can't hear yours. So this is why we write our notes down. So I would more so say float. You will have to tell me what you think on your notes. Please do that. Tell me on your notes if you think that the coffee would sink or float. Do tell me. I want to know what you guys know. Okay, I will be looking for that too when I'm grading it. Just wink, wink. Okay, so we have classified 5 items. Okay, so what I want you guys to go do for your assignments, just to make sure that you have all of your experiment notes written. You have written everything that you've seen. If you need to pause the video and just see the chart here, pause it and take some notes. It's all good. You guys are so lucky. You just get to pause the video. So with that being said, if you guys ever need anything, you know where to find me. Bye.